Hello again. Today I want to talk about the Cordova Device plugin. This is a plugin with the Cordova framework that allows you to access information about your user's device, what version of the operating system they're using, which operating system they're using, so what platform they're running on. If you need to know if it's a manufacturer, if you want to know if the app is running on a virtual device or an actual device, if you need the manufacturer or the device serial number. So there's lots of information that we can get through this device plugin, so I'm going to walk you through setting that up and then actually using it in your code. Alright, here I have the Cordova website. I'm in the documentation section. If we scroll down into the reference area, you can see here there's a list of plugin APIs. So these are kind of the core plugins that the group that manages Cordova looks after. There are tons of other plugins. If you go to the plugins section here, you'll be able to find all of those. But I'm going to just start with the device plugin. This is what we're going to be looking at. This is the name of the plugin that we're going to use to install in our application. Alright, so I'm going to jump over here. This is the HTML file and the JavaScript file that are provided when you create a blank Cordova project, which I covered in my other video. What I've done is I've edited the content. I've stripped out what they put inside of here, and so I have a H1 header, I have a div and a paragraph inside with just some default text. I removed all the comments from the JavaScript file. I stripped out a couple of the extra functions, and we're left with just this one function called onDeviceReady and another function called initialize. Both of these are inside of the variable app. So they've been namespaced, so if I want to call one of these functions, I can write app dot and then the name of the function. First thing I'm doing, this page runs immediately, calls the initialize function. It listens for the device ready event. Now this is an event that's not part of the normal JavaScript, the DOM or the core JavaScript events. This is something that exists inside the JavaScript code for Cordova. This event will fire when DOM content loaded has fired and all of the plugins that you're adding to your project have been fired. We're going to call the onDeviceReady function. Now in here, because app was used as the context for calling this function, inside of here we can write this to refer to the name of the function that we want. The alternative is you can actually do this. You can say app.onDeviceReady because it's the onDeviceReady function inside of the app object. Either one is going to work just fine. Right now all we're doing is console.log. Okay. I am going to go to my terminal now. You can see I'm inside, I did my present working directory, I'm inside the My App folder. That's the app that I created here. There's my folders, the www folder. This is where the index.html and the JavaScript are located. I want to add the Cordova plugin for device to this. So we use the Cordova command, Cordova plugin add, and then we need the name. And the name is this, Cordova plugin device. This is the plugin that we want to add. So we type Cordova plugin device. There we are. It's going to download that and install it into my project. There we go. And the first time you do this, it's going to take a little bit of time. It has to do some stuff with Gradle. There we go. 9 seconds. Not too bad. Now, to test my app, I need to add a platform. I could test it on iOS, I could test it on Android, or something that's really useful early on is testing it in the browser. Now, I can just open my HTML file in the browser, but something that's a little bit better is Cordova has a platform called Browser. We can add it the same way we'd add Android or iOS. This browser platform allows the Cordova Device Ready event to fire, and then we can test things. So there we are. Cordova plugin device that we installed previously has now been installed for the browser, so we can use that. Now jumping back into our code, if I were to use this plugin, there is now an object, called device, and inside that object are a series of properties. There's one called Cordova. This is the version of Cordova that is currently installed. So I'm going to write out a whole bunch of these Cordova properties, and I'm going to put it here inside this paragraph. So I will say var p, because it's a paragraph, document, query selector, and inside of something with the ID device, find that paragraph. There we are. And then I'm going to say p.innerHTML equals, and I'm going to concatenate a whole bunch of things here. So we'll take device.cordova plus a line break, and then I'm going to say device.platform. Platform is going to tell me which operating system I'm using. And I will concatenate a bunch more onto here. We've got platform. Model is going to tell me which of the what the phone model is that I'm using. In Android, model will sometimes be a code name. It won't be the actual name of the model. So you can get internal code names for that occasionally. UUID. Now, this UUID is not the UDID that iOS provides. It is, on Android, a unique 64-character randomly generated ID that on the device's first boot gets created, and then it'll be the same from that point on. For iOS, it is a number that is generated by the UI device identifier for vendor. Now that means that the first time an application is installed for your company, just for example, your company will be assigned a random ID. And as long as there are apps belonging to your company on the device, then you will have that same ID. If the person removes all the apps for your company, then there's a chance that it could be regenerated. But you're getting a unique ID out of it. All right, version is the version of the operating system on your device. Manufacturer, Samsung, Apple, Huawei, whoever it is virtual, lets you know whether or not the person's on a simulator, emulator, or an actual live device. That'll be a Boolean. And serial is the serial number. There we go. Serial number of the device that is rendering this. So I'm writing out all this information as a list to replace this piece of text, default text. All right, so make sure that's saved, jump back to my terminal. Now inside of here, when I want to launch my application, I have to be inside my app folder, like I do for all Cordova commands, and I'm going to say run, and then the platform, which in this case is going to be browser. This will start a copy of Chrome. There it is, and there we go. Here are all those fields. So let's reduce this and bring up the JavaScript behind here so we can see. This is the version of Cordova for the browser. This is the platform browser. Chrome is the model because it's being rendered in a version of Chrome. UUID, there is no UUID, so that's coming up as null. Version, this is the version of Chrome, 60. And manufacturer is virtual, and serial, those ones right now are unknown. And undefined, I guess they don't have that defined in the code for the browser. All right, and that's it. That's the device plugin. And you can use these values in your code to determine if there's different functionality. So in your JavaScript file, if you want to do something differently depending on which platform, which operating system, which device that you're looking at, all of these things can be of value to you. If you have a back-end database on a server somewhere that you're working with, you can hang on to the serial number or the UUID to track that person and see what they're doing to interact with the application. You can send that information, save it on a server, and then every time the person interacts, you can track that information. All right, great. Any questions, please leave them in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching.